Welcome, everybody, to the Hit in the Turnbuckle podcast. This is your Monday Night Raw review show. Raw going off the air 3 or 4 hours ago. And we're on that road, everybody. That road to WrestleMania. Lots and lots of stuff happened on Raw, which ultimately is, hitting a few bumps, shall we say, on that road to WrestleMania. The first things first, the transfer window was in full force on Monday Night Raw. Another SmackDown star is making his way to Raw and seemingly enough has already got an enemy in form of the Intercontinental Champion, Braun Breaker. That man that's moving to Monday Night Raw is in fact the phenomenal AJ Styles, who did indeed return at the Royal Rumble this coming Saturday. And Braun Breaker was already saying to Adam Pearce, you keep AJ Styles away from me, which is indicating AJ Styles could well be feuding with Braun Breaker as we go to the Elimination Chamber. Could it even be a WrestleMania moment of Braun Breaker? But I am all for that match. I am looking very much forward to when that match does happen, and it's seemingly the way to go. However, that's coming up. Let's talk Raw. And of course, the first thing that we had to do on Raw was yeet. Jey Uso coming out. And, look, he's coming out about, he's going to finally, he's won the Royal Rumble. He's wanted to do it for ages, and he's going to finally be that main event. His name's obviously Main Event Jey Uso. However, of course, that means Gunther is going to come out. And these two went back and forth, and I don't know, is Jay Gunther's 3-0 against Jey Uso, he's 3-0, and he was basically saying to Jey Uso, look, you got to consider your options here, So, I don't know, it's a weird one, and Jay did actually say that he's going to holler at Cody, but he's telling you whoever he comes from, he's going to win the World Heavyweight Champion, which is going to be interesting. Does he choose Cody? Does he choose Gunther? I don't know. What I was thinking, and I said this to my good boys at the Ringside Renaissance, I sent them a voice note yesterday and saying that I still don't think, as it stands right now, Jey Uso heads into WrestleMania in the main event for the championship. I think this is what I think. Cena wins the Elimination Chamber. Punk doesn't have a match at WrestleMania. He calls in his favor from Paul Heyman, which is to have a match with Jey Uso to take basically his number one contendership away from him. And that's what they do. That's how they do it. Would I like it? No. But that's in my head. That's my kind of thinking at the moment. I'm still not convinced Jey Uso makes it to WrestleMania as a number one contender for the championships. That's my view. Anyway, that's just my view. Let me know what you think. Yeah, of course, if you agree or disagree with that. Now, if loads of you that missed it, the Royal Rumble post-show, John Cena come out and announced that he was going to be competing in the Elimination Chamber. He says he served the company for 23 years and he feels like he's earned it without having to qualify for that opportunity, so that he will go straight in to the Elimination Chamber. And that is in fact what has happened. It was quite funny that CM Punk was on a podcast and he was like, oh, that's great. Cena gets the chance to go all the way through. He doesn't have to qualify. I have to qualify. And he said he was going to beat Sami Zayn and qualify and slap the shit out of John Cena. Interesting. Well, we'll wait and see if CM Punk does indeed qualify. That is the main event of tonight's Raw. But we finally get to a match after what felt like forever. And it was a really good match. It was Ludwig Kaiser and Penta El Cielo Miedo. Penta's just coming in and having great matches. Yes, he did eliminate himself from the Royal Rumble, which the WWE didn't, they kind of said only 1 foot touched the floor when it was blatantly 2. That's why he didn't show any replays. But look, that being said, him and Ludwig Kaiser had a great match. These two, Kaiser is very underrated. A lot of that had to do with being with Gunther. Now he's not with Gunther. Yes, he's eating a few losses. I think that's kind of when you're challenging the punks, when you're challenging the new guy in Penta, you're gonna eat a few. As long as he doesn't eat too many losses, that's the important thing. We always say one or two isn't too bad. If you start losing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in a row, and it kills your momentum. But Penta and Ludwig Kaiser, what a great opening contest to Raw. Penta does get the win with a twisted DDT, but I don't know, where does Penta go for WrestleMania? He could go. He could have Rey Mysterio. He could have Dominic Mysterio. He could have Rey Mysterio. There's options there, and he did have a little. Obviously, Penta was 2, Rey was 1 in this year's Royal Rumble, so they teased it a little bit there. They had a little, obviously had that brief match before number 3 come in, and that could be the way that they go. But they definitely see a lot in Penta, whether or not this is the whole let's build up the next Mexican hero so that we've got someone from when Ray goes and we've got a really top baby-faced Mexican to help sell the shirts and sell out the shows. But if you do that in the WWE, like we've said on this channel many times, if you sell out shows, if you sell merchandise, and if you can go in the ring, you're going to get championships. It's just that's how they work. And Penta could well be looking at a championship, I'd say in the distant-ish future, maybe even at WrestleMania. Maybe that's where his path takes him. Ludwig Kaiser, I'm not too sure about. I do what he needs to win a championship at some point, but we can't keep having people win titles. We like titles to be meaningful. We don't want constant change of champions. I do think Ludwig is certainly showing how good that he actually is in the ring, and he's actually great. He's not even good; he's great. But what sort of avenue does he take to WrestleMania? Does he even get a WrestleMania? Look, not everyone's going to be on the card. That's the killer bit. But we'll wait and see. But it was a great opening contest for Monday Night Raw. Now, at the Royal Rumble, you would have seen the return of Finn Balor. He had a couple of weeks off to heal up from his injuries in the street fight with the now SmackDown star Damian Priest. And he comes storming into the Judgment Day's clubhouse. And he said everything, when he's away, everything around him seems to fall to pieces. He said Dominic stole his tag team title match. JD McDonough got hurt. He said if Dom wants to call the shots in the future, maybe Finn should buy him a babysitter. Give him a babysitter. Liv was trying to play peacemaker. He said there was going to give an opportunity to another team if Dom didn't step in. The Raw Raiders hurt JD, not Dominic. Things don't look great at the moment, but Liv will qualify for the match, Elimination Chamber match, because she's got one with Io Sky. And Liv tells everyone to relax, and they are family. Well, that is true, but the Judgment Day have been imploding again. They've been imploding quite a lot over the years on Monday Night Raw, to be honest with you. I can sense something happening there in the very, very near future with, excuse me, it's coffee time. In the very, very near future with the Judgment Day and Dom there. I think that faction will soon to be split. Surprised they didn't do it via the transfer window, which is now closed, just like the football window is. The last transfers were happening last weekend and will probably be announced this week, like we saw with AJ Styles, and we'll get into the SmackDown trade that we expect to happen very shortly. But yeah, I was surprised they didn't do it that way. But nevertheless, we were expecting a big blow off with the Judgment Day at some point in the very near future, which I think has been on the cards ever since Rhea and Damian were there. They just split two and they kept, they carried on with the Judgment Day for a while, but I think it's near enough time for it. If you look at the Bloodline situation, that's kind of finished now. Things are going in different directions with that. So the Judgment Day are next on that list, in my opinion. Charlotte Flair. Yeah, you can hear the excitement in my voice. Comes out, look, she won the Royal Rumble. She thought she was unbreakable, but no, the knee injury that she had nearly broke her. Yeah, I mean, basically, Charlotte was just back, and she's going to go to WrestleMania. And look, wherever I think of Charlotte, and then what I think the WWE, putting her straight in that spot is irrelevant. But look, basically, she's still the greatest superstar in the history of the industry. And then she was saying about why are you booing? Did you not want me to go and tell you how hard last year was because it broke her? But she fought every single day to get back here through many surgeries, including the one on her face. But she said, she wants to be the very best at. She wants to be able to walk down that aisle and punch her ticket again to WrestleMania. I knew he was coming back. She was just trying to have a moment with Cleveland, but that got interrupted by Mammy, Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. And it's interesting because they were talking about, Rhea Ripley was talking about, last time at WrestleMania, I beat you. And she was like, yeah, that's a good point. She makes no excuses. She went, I think we're forgetting that the first time we fought WrestleMania, Charlotte Flair beat Rhea Ripley, and she did, and that's the thing. Like, these two are 1-1 at WrestleMania, which was interesting because, do they do the third match? I don't know. But anyway, Rhea Ripley was begging Charlotte Flair to pick her, but she didn't pick her on Raw anyway. Not at least not yet. And it's an interesting one as to where they go. Do they do the rubber match at WrestleMania? Do they do the 1-on-1? And Charlotte Flair will probably go on and pick up the victory if she does, to make it the victory for her. Do they do it that way? Does she go and face Tiffany Stratton, someone that she's never faced before at WrestleMania? That's a possibility. Same with Jey Uso. Does he go the Cody Rhodes route because he's lost to Gunther 3 times or Gunther 3 times? Possibly. This is an interesting one because it's reported that Jey is going to go against Gunther and the winner of the Elimination Chamber is going to go against Cody Rhodes, which I can get. That's pretty cool. I get that. But, when you look at it, is Gunther and Jey not finished already with 3 defeats? You wouldn't go back for a 4th, would you? And they could be setting up the same thing they've done with Sami Zayn and Gunther last year at WrestleMania when Sami Zayn had opportunities to win the Intercontinental Championship, lost them, got another one at WrestleMania, beat him. Maybe that's the way that they're looking at. Speaking of Sami Zayn, anyway, but we'll find out what's going on with everybody else. Anyway, with that. But speaking of Sami Zayn, he was backstage. He said, what's his mindset going into the match with CM Punk? He said this year he's going to win the Royal Rumble, but he doesn't have time to think about it. The only thing he's got to think about now is CM Punk. Jackie was about to ask a question about Kevin Owens because it was that match, obviously, with Cody at the Rumble. But Jey Uso walks up and it was, and Jey Uso tells Sami that he was aiming for him. They give him a big hug. This moment is Jay's, and Sami tells Jey to go all the way. And Jey wishes him luck in his match with Punk. But Karrion Kross appears and asks Sami how he's doing. Does it feel like to see everyone else live out their dreams? And Sami was getting sick of Karrion Kross. And if Kross keeps showing up, he doesn't want it to be a problem, but it can be. Which is interesting because Karrion Kross has been on this crusade for a while. And every time Kross seems to run into somebody, they change as the character or the way face, heel face kind of thing. So are they moving Sami into that direction? Which it could do. They could actually do that. And it would be interesting if they did with Sami and Karrion. Karrion Kross, for me, has been underrated, criminally underused in the WWE. They're finding a character that works for him, which is great. The only thing I would say is it too late for Karrion Kross to make that descent to where he should be in the WWE? And will he do it with Sami Zayn? Only time will tell. That is for sure. Backstage at this point, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley was having a chat. And Io's like, she might see you at WrestleMania. And as Liv Morgan ambushes them from behind at that point, Liv actually ran away from Rhea as Raquel Rodriguez delivers the pounce over the production crates onto Rhea Ripley, which, you can imagine that's not going to go unanswered. And we'll get to that in a minute with Liv and Rhea and Liv and Io Sky having their match later on. We finally get to the second match, and this is kind of my problems with Raw since the Netflix move, and it has been a problem with Raw for many, many years. a lot of talking, a lot of backstage, and you're doing a 2.5 hour show, and this one in particular, 4 matches. Now, the matches were very, well put out. They were well spread out across the show. Good, match length was great. The match we're about to talk about was a good long match. The Kaiser match was Io Sky's, and that was a longish match, and then the main event was quite long. So, but is there enough? Is 4 matches enough in a 2.5 hour show? I don't know. We'll have to maybe ask that question for you guys on socials to answer for us. Is 4 matches long enough on a 2.5 hour show of Raw every week? Anyway, with that being said, on to the second match of the evening, and it's going to be the LWO Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Remember, no longer with Selena Vega, as she has now gone on to SmackDown, or as Michael Cole would say, Selena Vega, as he said enough times during the Royal Rumble. And they were taking on New Day, who have new music, so it's something else to get into. It's decent. It's one of them ones that may grow on you. Look, they're heels now. At the end of the day, New Day are heels now. That's where they're going. That's what they're doing, and we're all living in a New Day world, so to speak, or the New Day world. This was again. These 4 was never going to disappoint in terms of a match. It was a really good tag match. The New Day picks up the victory with the Trouble in Paradise, but that's because Logan Paul attacked Mysterio from behind and behind the referee's back. Didn't get with that. I didn't understand that whole thing. That was why that was going on. I mean, during the match, Logan Paul come out. He talked smack to Rey Mysterio. Mysterio shoved Logan Paul. They had their match in Saudi Arabia, I think, when Logan Paul nearly saved Rey Mysterio, so to speak. Rey Mysterio blames Logan Paul, said he was too far back from the springboard moonsault. So where they're going with that? Where they're going with it is a match next week. Logan Paul, Rey Mysterio. But what's Logan Paul's allegiance with New Day? What is there an allegiance there? Is there something forming there? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll get some more clarity next week on that. They did. Now we'll find out anyway. But from more so about Roman Reigns, they did announce that there's been no official update. There's no official injury update on him after being stomped by Seth Rollins, a vicious 2-footed stomp by Seth Rollins. But the chances that he'll be out for the foreseeable future, it's a storyline, folks. It's a storyline. Don't worry, he'll be back. There's nothing wrong with Zed Tribal Chief at all. But as we said about the Punk Logan Paul Rey Mysterio match, it's an Elimination Chamber qualifier. Which, if you think about what happened at the Royal Rumble, Logan Paul will win that, because look where he was eliminated by, obviously, the USO. And Cena was in that ring as well. He eliminated CM Punk. So you can kind of see where the Elimination Chamber is going right now. And also Bayley will collide with Lyra Valkyria, the Intercontinental Champion. WWE, not much of champions really this week on the WWE. More talking as there ever is on there. CM Punk had an interview. He really wasn't going to have to go for that. He won't want to worry. It's what that's about. It's about his match with Sami Zayn. It's about Elimination Chamber. Let's get on to the third match. And just coincidentally, before we do that, we mentioned Braun Breaker. His spear to ISO speed has over 300 million social media views. If you wonder why people like that dipshit ISO Speed gets TV time in the WWE, gets somebody's spot in the Royal Rumble, there is your reason. Right there, guys. Right there. Right. Elimination Chamber women's qualifying match. Liv Morgan, Io Sky. This was good. We criticise WWE for not having many matches, but when they can put on 4 matches of quality over quantity, something over substance. I can't remember that one. But yeah, is quality over quantity? Is that maybe what you look for in a wrestling show? I don't know. I reckon you could have had another 2 and you could have still had the quality. Or you could have had 6 matches. I know that it's a whole thing when they have pay-per-views. It's kind of making Raw to be a pay-per-view, isn't it? Triple H likes those 4-5 match pay-per-view cards, excuse me, where he can give the matches time There's meaning to them. So perhaps going forward, that's how he's going to be writing the shows. It's SmackDown as well. SmackDown's obviously 3 hours. But the way that he books pay-per-views is maybe similar now to how he's going to book shows. 4 or 5 matches, shit in between. Not shit, but, bits in between. But the matches are going to be long and have a bit of quality and have a meaning to them. Anyway, let's have a look. On this one itself, this was really, really good. But we did say that the attack early on Rhea Ripley was not going to go unanswered. And it certainly was not. Rhea Ripley come out. She attacked Raquel Rodriguez from behind. All hell broke loose near the end of this match. But Rhea Ripley ends up punching Liv Morgan and causes the disqualification, which means Liv Morgan is on her way to the Elimination Chamber. Io Sky is not. Rhea Ripley was apologizing to Io Sky. Those apologies went on deaf ears. Or fell on deaf ears, shall I say. They had an interview with the Raw Raiders. They did praise JD McDonough, obviously, after coming back from his injury, the injury and carrying on through the match. But that was interrupted by the Creed brothers. And they want a shot at the World Tag Team Championships. And that's interesting. They'll have to prepare for war. And preparing for war, that includes Chad Gable, who's off to find a master of the dark arts of Lucha Libre. But when Gable comes back, he wants to see them flourishing in gold. Well, that's going to be interesting. That is going to be, amazing. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing that match when it happens. That's for sure. That's going to be really, really good to see it. And who is that man? Is it El Wagner Jr., which has been linked with WWE? Is it Josh Alexander? I don't know. Who could Chad Gable be going to see? We'll find out in a few weeks. That is for sure. Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn had a little bit of a segment on this, and Seth was talking about the Rumble. He's talking about CM Punk, eliminating him. He was talking about Punk, basically a piece of garbage. He's like, you got dumped over the top rope by an idiot like Logan Paul. And then he was talking about Roman Reigns is hurt. He doesn't want a minute. Paul Heyman's not going to tell you the truth. WWE's not going to tell you the truth. He is. And he says, I'm the one who hurt him. I told you that you weren't going to get some kind of, you weren't going to like some of the things I have to say. But he basically said he hurt Roman Reigns. And he said now he's got a qualifying match in a couple of weeks on Raw against his old rival Finn Balor for the Elimination Chamber. Now, if you remember this dates back 10 or so years. Finn Balor beat Seth Rollins to win the first ever Undisputed Championship, only to have to relinquish it due to a shoulder injury the next night on Raw. So those two are coming back in together for another match, which is great. Sami Zayn come out on this anyway. Seth Rollins called him out on this. He said, how much you hate CM Punk. But it's all about Seth has got Punk on his mind at the moment, He was saying, Sami Zayn, you are a WrestleMania main eventer. You're a good person. Something CM Punk will never be. You aren't on his level. Your level's above Punk, and tonight is your night. It was a rah-rah speech for Sami Zayn. Seth was trying to fire him up against his main event match with CM Punk, basically indicating that Sami's levels above Punk, and Punk, you're going to beat him. You're going to get to WrestleMania. You're going to earn your spot. Well, he's going to get to the Elimination Chamber. I mean, he fell short of saying he was going to win the Elimination Chamber because Seth may be in the Chamber match itself. But lo and behold, we get to Raw's main event, which indeed is CM Punk and Sami Zayn, and it was brilliant. Love this main event. Love Sami Zayn and Punk. Great chemistry. Punk can still go. Look, Punk ain't as, he's not as young as he's used to be, and he does blow up during matches. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think Punk would deny that. But what nobody else can deny, whatever you say about Punk, he can still go with the best in the WWE. And he did in this match with Sami Zayn. It was tremendous. I loved it. There was quite a few false finishes. You thought Sami Zayn may have got the win. But in the end, Sami Zayn ends up going to sleep. Well, not literally. He got given the go to sleep. He lost the match. Punk qualifies, which, to be fair, it was always going to happen. Punk was always going to qualify for the Elimination Chamber. There was no doubt about that. Whether he wins it or not is another thing. But you look at this. You could potentially be looking at this at the Elimination Chamber, guys. CM Punk, John Cena, Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, maybe? Would Reigns get there? Drew McIntyre. That would be a star-studded Elimination Chamber if ever I saw one. And if that's 6, could you imagine that? Incredible way to start March the 1st over in Canada, should it happen. However, it wasn't the end of Raw. CM Punk and Sami Zayn shake hands, but Kevin Owens attacks CM Punk and Sami Zayn as Raw goes off the air. Owens plants Sami Zayn with the package power driver. Are we heading for another Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens feud in the WWE? And are we heading to WrestleMania again? We had it before. But are we heading to WrestleMania with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania? That was Monday Night Raw with a total run time of just under 2.5 hours, which, by the way, is Triple H is, well, what he said, it should be the average time for a show, around 2.5 hours. So spot on to Triple H. But Raw will run next week with some more Chamber qualifying matches. But on this show, the season finale of Season 1 of Independent Showcase is available right now with United Wrestling. I released it a bit early for you guys. Go and check it out. Season 2 announcements coming up. Season 2 begins filming today, by the way. You won't see it until March, but it's out today. Some great talents lined up for Season 2, so keep it watched on there. NWA star Daisy Kill will be on this week as well. I think that's Thursday. That will drop. We're potentially doing another NWA Spotlight tomorrow, recording tomorrow. We'll tell you who it is once it's done. We've got some interviews coming up. Gangrel will be coming up on this channel soon. We're still waiting for a date for RVD. That will be happening, I promise you. Potentially another big one on the way. Can't really go into it at the moment. Waiting for some finer details, but potentially another good one coming up. But keep checking us out. Big thank you to you all for watching our shows, for listening and tuning in to my dulcet tones every week. It does mean a lot to me and everybody on the channel. More review shows dropping this week. AEW, NWA, Power, TNA will be dropping this week, and we'll have some more WWE to round off the week. But follow us, HTT Buckle on X, HTT Buckle on YouTube, Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast on Insta, Blue Sky, and TikTok. And until next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.